Okay, week number two. Great job, guys, on the first assignment. I was very pleased with what you guys came up with. I think that they're all unique. I think that you guys really did think through how those letters would come together. I think doing something like that is very cool, especially to kind of start things off for a semester like this, because it's an assignment that gives you sort of parameters and rules, but you're able to use creativity to kind of work your way around that and still stay within those parameters. So good job in doing that. Real quick, I want to show you guys what I have come up with over the years. This changes a lot. So what it was a long time ago was a lot worse and a lot different than what you'll see right now. So my logo looks like this right now. And one thing that I think that I'm going to do later is I'm going to reassign the logo assignment. But I'll give you guys no rules. You don't have to use the letters. You don't have to use anything. There's no restrictions, Because I think that after a while, you guys know exactly the kind of designer that you are and what you want to use to represent yourselves. And for me, based on some of the work that I've done in the past, this seems to me to represent that for me. And sometimes it does take a while to maybe do some work and to look at it collectively and say, okay, what exactly represents this stuff that I've made, And that's what I've done, because if you look at some of the new stuff I've added, it's very, it's design that has been built a lot around photography. And one piece that I made a while ago with the help of a great photographer is this piece. I did a poster for a magic show that I performed, 2 or 3 years ago, and I did some different layering effects and was able to kind of create this mysterious look. It's just me twice, and there's 3 hands, so that kind of gave it away. But I liked having, the hands pop out and the face kind of hidden, because, the message that I wanted to send was it's more about what the hands are doing, and it's less about who is doing it, But I really did dig stuff like this. And so I pulled this part of the image out just in a Photoshop, black and white filter, and then in Illustrator brought that in and just gave it a quick color halftone, which gives pieces a comic book like sort of texture. I love black and white stuff mixed with bright colors, and yellow is great. Yellow and black and white is just a great color palette, so I used that, and the idea here is that all these ideas are in my head. So that, coupled up with just this really simple sans serif font, was just the way that I thought represented me. I always had problems combining the A and the M together, so this is the route that I ended up going down. Added some new works too, and I'm still kind of building this out, so you're welcome and encouraged to go and check some of those things out. Okay, so what is the assignment for week number 2? It is pretty simple. It is to create a resume, a designer's resume. I'm going to show you guys mine. It is not impressive, and after looking at some of the ones I'll show you in a second, I'm definitely going to go back and redo it, and I'll reveal that to you also next Sunday. So you can see some of the themes carry over from the website, right? Same sort of, this is a cool Helvetica, I believe. It's in the Helvetica family. And that's kind of the main driving force behind the design, along with designing in the grid very clearly and sticking to white, black, and gray themes. Excuse me. It's almost too simple, but I think that I was so afraid and so tired of trying to create something unique that I just didn't risk it. I'm going to go back and change that, don't worry. So you'll see on mine that all this stuff is actually stuff that I've done. I started working at the state, came back to Midland, and I taught at Midland for a while. Still do. I actually got to update that too, because I'm still teaching. Of course, Assurity is my main line of work, designing for them in Lincoln. And of course, went back to Midland to get this degree, which was a great decision, by the way, obviously. So all this stuff for me is real and true. For you guys as college students, it is not as easy to, I guess, create something like this because you haven't graduated and haven't probably started working real design jobs. So for this assignment, your job is to create a resume that is not only an extension and representation of that first step, that logo that you made in assignment number 1, but also do it with the mindset that you're like 5, 10, 15, 20 years in the future, and you've worked jobs that have put you on the path, the career path that that is something that you've dreamed about or wanted. Like where can you see yourself working, excuse me, in 5 years, in 10 years, and make that part of your resume. And what degrees did you get? And stuff like that. And are you a teacher? So I want you to be creative too in the content and think about where you might be in that time ahead and include that as your content. Of course, some of it's going to be true. Your name, email perhaps, your degree, and maybe your first job, you already had an internship or something like that. But then where did your career go next? If you guys want to make edits to your first assignment before doing this, you're welcome to do that. But make sure I see that, because I want to see the coordination between that first logo and then, of course, this piece. Because visual themes, fonts, ideas need to be sort of, they need to work in tandem with each other. Because as you can see, this website, which is very, very minimal and grid-like, is very similar in the same ways to this resume, which still, though, needs to be sort of fixed. If you go out to Pinterest or something like that, other resources, you're going to see a lot of cool ideas. And it is totally cool if you want to see something. And I don't want you to copy things, of course, but there are small ideas throughout all of our careers that we're going to take from seeing out in the world. And by all means, if you see something here that you really dig in your research, something that you think, whether it be in layout, color, just font ideas that you think represents yourself, don't be afraid to honor those things that you're seeing. And I want to say, again, I'm going to be careful about saying the word copy, but implement some of those styles and some of those practices. So that's your assignment. It's essentially our first layout piece of work. And we're going to take what we are developing in that first assignment, whether you're totally cool with that and are ready to move on to this one, or if you want to kind of step back, check it out again, make some quick adjustments, and then step into this assignment. Both totally cool. But I want to see the relationship visually and conceptually from that first piece, which is a little bit, of course, smaller in scale, to a layout. Not saying they have to look exactly the same, but can I infer a visual relationship between the two? That's your task for week number 2. This will last until Sunday. I think that since you guys know yourselves, know your dreams, know your aspirations, know where you've been, and know what you want to do, the content that you'll fill into this piece is going to come naturally. So have some fun with it. Have a good time with the stuff that you put in, and maybe make that your career goals too. Keep this piece to remind yourself that that's where you want it to be. So again, do some research. Styles are just way beyond what you've seen in Microsoft Word templates, and do not do something off a Microsoft Word template, please. So yeah, check out some things, and I'm eager to see what you guys come up with. And again, the main purpose is to create something that is very, very close in relationship and builds off of what you were starting in the logo piece. So it's building our brand even further. We will actually move on to doing designs unassociated with our brands next, but I think it's kind of cool to have your personal logo and your kind of resume idea out there, and I think it's good practice for something that you'll have to do anyway in the real world as you graduate and think about the future. So that's our assignment. If you have any questions, you can go to the discussion board that I'll post as well, or just ask me directly, or of course, please feel free to communicate with one another. Okay, we'll talk soon.